you got to ask, what are the odds that my spouse will actually benefit from the survivor benefit program? Hey, I am Chuck, the bureaucrat, and as some of you guys know, I am working my way through retirement. And there's this big decision that all of us face about whether or not to opt in to the survivor benefit program. It's like a lot of decisions. You have to make it based off of your own personal situation, and there's no one-size-fits-all solution that works for everybody. And what's more, the survivor benefit program is kind of unusual because it forces us to take into consideration some factors that, we don't normally think about. See, the survivor benefit program is essentially a life insurance policy that protects your dependents from the loss of your pension when you die. What's unusual about the survivor benefit program is that, unlike a lot of life insurance policies, it doesn't take into consideration your life expectancy or that of your beneficiaries. And so for one family, it might be a great idea. And for another family, it might not be a good idea at all. But here's the thing that frustrates me. As far as I can tell, the Department of Defense doesn't actually provide any tools for determining if it's a good decision for your family. Now here's the thing. Under this program, you can insure your spouse, a former spouse, your children, some combination, or even an insurable interest. But to keep things simple, what I want to do is I want to focus on my own situation. I'm married, and my kids are grown and out of the house, so I have no dependent children. What that means is the decision to opt into survivor benefit or not really comes down to, what are the chances that my spouse will outlive me? Now, of course, the Department of Defense does not mention that factor in all the material that they provide, and they certainly don't provide any tools to answer that question. So what I've done is I've built a little spreadsheet tool based on the Social Security Administration's life tables. By entering the age and gender of the service member and the spouse at the time that the service member retires, you can see an estimate of the probability that the spouse will outlive the service member. Now, in my case, as you can see, my wife is a little bit older than me, but the odds that she'll outlive me are still around 41%. So for me, I'm going to opt into the program. Somebody who has a younger wife, well, it's even more likely that the wife will outlive the service member, and so they'll probably opt in too. Now, if you're a female service member with a male spouse who's older than you, well, that's the situation where you might want to start having a serious conversation about whether or not the survivor benefit program is right for you. And before we wrap up here, there's 3 things that I should really point out to you. The first one is that all of this analysis is based off of the life tables that the Social Security Administration uses. That means it only takes into account gender and age. It doesn't consider other things like alcohol use, tobacco use, family history of medical problems, known medical problems, all those things that may help refine this estimate. Second, you can only opt into the survivor benefit program when you retire. If you choose not to opt in and then later regret it and want to opt in, you can't. It's a one-shot deal. So make sure that you put some good thought into it. And third, if you're not going to insure your spouse, they need to know. This has to be part of a joint decision. Now, there is one last thing that I noticed while I was doing this analysis. And while it doesn't really sway the decision for me, it does make me feel better about this decision. See, the default level of coverage is 55% of your pension. And in order to get that, you pay 6.5% every month. That's an 8-to-1 ratio. And what that means is that if you die 8 years after you get out of the military and your spouse only outlives you by 1 year, you've still collected on all the money that you've put into the program. And what that means is it's really unlikely that your spouse will outlive you and collect less than you've paid into the program. And here's this other thing. While your spouse's benefits are unlimited over the course of her lifetime, if your spouse passes away before you do, well, obviously, you stop paying into the program. What that essentially means is that the upside is unlimited and the total costs are essentially capped. At the end of the day, personally, I feel pretty good about opting into this program. Hey, I'm Chuck, and if this video has been helpful for you, take a look at the COLA trap, because it turns out that you could actually reduce your pension by serving longer. There's a right time to retire, so check out this video. In the meantime, keep doing a good job. We're all counting on you.